Thank you. I think I better say that again. Also, it deserves repeating. Shame is not a word in the Pali or Sanskrit. It is understood to be a defilement. That means a wrong view, wrong seeing, wrong understanding, does not exist. It's made up by the ego, and the ego looks to do what? Solidify itself. Now, this is a little problem for us because ego loves solidifying itself in the good. I am good, it's all about me. What about my feelings? What about my needs, right? That is mostly egoic, not because you don't get to include yourself, but because it shrink wraps around a solid, centered, self cherishing, self grasping aspect of self, which, by the way, is a guaranteed cause for suffering. Oh, you mean all this celebrity doesn't get us happiness? Well, we know the answer. All the lip plumping doesn't make us happy? Not ever. All the I'm dating X or I've got the big house and the or I look over Central Park, not by itself. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy these things either, right? But they are not actually the source of happiness, and we mistake this so significantly. So the Buddha said, shame, oh, it's not a thing. You've made it up, and you've made it up about you, and now it's the contracted, deficient, transitive, not good enough you. And then you went, that's who I am. And then he said, wow, it seems to be a thing for people to construct this delusion, this distortion. So I'm going to actually offer a correction. But I'm going to offer it actually, we hope, not from that place of first guilt, though it will be beneficial. By the way, I'm calling this from shame to compassion. It will actually work in the smaller realms even better, those like regret. And regret is probably equal then to a word in our Western culture, something closer to guilt. It is a sense of wrongness of doing, but it's doing, not being. Shame goes into the whole of one's being. Guilt says, ooh, I don't know if that was the smartest thing. I don't know if I got the result I was hoping for. Maybe I could have been more skillful or quieter or kinder. Maybe I could have been a better listener. Maybe I, right? And this is seen from the Buddhist point of view as skillful, wholesome, right heartedness, not just right mindedness, but the heart's in the right place. And he simply called that wholesome. Don't you love that word? Regret. Wholesome. It means probably wise, probably skillful. Now, we could turn that moment of wrongdoing, we'll call it, or not clear doing, or not well intentioned, or not clear seeing would be probably a word I'd use, something like that into ourselves. We could go, because of that doing, I am now all bad. I am bad, not the unskillfulness, the lack of clear seeing. And then we don't see any ability to work with it, do we? We just collapse, we reject, push away, we go, can't deal with that. Does everybody get these distinctions? They're very important, not always understood. Why? They feel similarly. It's what the mind ultimately does with it that goes into destructive process. Uh, it is also in regret understood to be part of what we might call our ethical ecology. It's a way of writing. It's a way of recognizing and then with regret, remorse, actually making a repair, seeking reconciliation, choosing wisdom, learning. I can do this differently. Do you see all the space and room there? I'm no longer stuck in this uh, just me. And by the way, from the Buddha's point of view, he said it doesn't matter what was done. Now, this is big for me. I've had to work on this a lot because I've done some not so great things, unskillfully, unkindly. really not with regard for other as much as for oneself. And I go, really? You mean even that? And the Buddha actually confronted a few people. One was a king. I'll tell the two stories quickly. One was a king, I don't recollect his name, but the king actually came to the Buddha to confess. He said, I believe in the path. I think there's some merit here, although I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to walk it because I have committed an essential, huge wrong. And the Buddha said, whatever the wrong, honesty would be the first right action. And the king said, okay, I killed my father to take over this throne. And the Buddha said, you are forgiven. And the monks really went crazy over this. Like, wait a minute, how did you just say that's okay? He said, oh, I didn't say it was okay. I said, I forgive you because I understand the heart mind of wrongdoing. I know where it comes from. And that he was willing to declare it in front of a group of essentially strangers, this whole group of many monks, and to me, means he is truly regretful and remorseful, and he will not repeat. He was confident he would not. And in fact, the king ultimately became something that's called an arhat, uh, who was not going to be enlightened, but he was clearly on the path to that. So that's encouraging. But the honesty, the genuine remorse, I know this was wrong, it is also afflicting me. There is no look at me, I'm the king, I've got all these great things. Well, maybe one body, even if it's a family member. No, it was wrong, it was understood to be wrong, and it ultimately was forgiven on the path to the correction, which the Buddha always sees as better than in this stuck, frozen, solidified way. The second story is one you may have heard about from me. I talk about it often. It's one of my favorite, is the story of Angulimala. And Angulimala was a murderer, and I'm not going to tell the whole story, but even Angulimala, who had a necklace of fingers from the victims, ultimately was forgiven. And not only forgiven by others, he was held, it said, in the arms of the Sangha. They kept him close and near so that there was no potential for wrongdoing. He, by the way, had the same requirement. He had to tell the truth. Of course, what do we know about Angulimala when the story is revealed? He had a lifetime of pain and abuse. Again, it doesn't make it okay. It just helps us understand that causes and conditions arising can lead to harm until they are turned toward, moved into open-heartedness. And this is all of our practice. By the way, not with another. It's our practice with ourselves that we can say, but I can recognize. I didn't like the tone of the voice. I don't know that my genuine intention or aspiration in that moment was kindness. I think I was trying to make a point. I think I was looking to be just right. Can I recognize that? And then, says the Buddhist cosmology, there are several groups of actions in sort of categories to take. One of them is simply internal. I recognized the cause of its suffering. I recognized it was not going to be a benefit to me or others. And out of that recognition, I changed my mind. I will commit then ultimately not to the repetition of this. Well, nobody saw that, did they? You didn't go to the other. You didn't say, I know I blew it. Sometimes we're well past that possibility for any infinite number of reasons. If you have the opportunity, it says you need to look closely because you may just be working from shame again. It'd be better to actually then take an action, a compassionate action to say, I was wrong, I did the wrong thing, I was hurting, I was whatever, and I'm committing. But remember, actions that are taken inward in this tradition are understood to be as valuable and often first to an action that is ever then taken external. So that there is a righting, right inward measure is the definition of meditation, in fact. To get oneself right with that will lead to better actions, consequences, results, and karma than something we go, well, I just should throw myself on the sword, which is not understood to be skillful or wise. I'm just going to stop here, make sure we understand these key distinctions. Are there any questions about this? We get these mixed up a lot, and in our mix-up, we don't act as skillfully as we can. All right, I don't see anything here, so let's continue. So in this cosmology, we talked about Hiri and Ottappa. I'm not going to go back over it much. Hiri is the kind of mind that with moral conscience that recognizes wrongdoing and has the dignity and the wholeness to be able to do so. It is not just me. It is causes and conditions that are me, and then also, right? But we don't push them there. We say, what do I take responsibility for? Ottappa is the recognition that there are consequences for all actions, all thoughts, all speech. And we don't want to generate, do we, this in some kind of repetitive, drunken, or a new word that we just, Ottappa, tanha, from some thirst. I just want what I want, and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get it. And we're drunk and really addicts who are going to cause harm to ourselves and others. So that's the distinction there. Just to know these are two elements. It says here it's not based on fear, and it's not based on punishment. It's simply based on recognition. It isn't, oh, because now I'm going to suffer more. It isn't only that. You're already suffering, it says. The recognition that suffering was caused both to you and others, and the willingness to be honest, to acknowledge, to turn towards it, to say there is a way to offer this correctly or rightly and offer remedy. And by the way, it does. I've been practicing a little bit extra with just these little 4 steps that we're going to go over in our practice. It really does transform. And I love it because it can transform on the spot so that you don't have to take this thing and turn it into a stone within you and then have to hide around it. You can say, I don't, you know, I may not have been acting from the purest heart. I may not have been acting not only for myself, but myself and others. I may not have used the greatest skill in voice or in perception along this path. And that's just understood to be wise. And not solidly wholly you. And isn't that great? You free it the moment you acknowledge it. You are already freer. You're already clearer seeing. Can you imagine the benefit of this? To go, oops, I may have done that wrong. You know, my goal is to ultimately be more so on the spot. To go, you know what, I don't know if I said that correctly. I don't know if that was the right, I'm not sure I communicated as well as I really intend. Let me try again. And look what that would mean for the other as well. Isn't it lovely? So we get this thing about Hiri and Ottappa. I don't want to stay more on it, but I want you to understand that they are different dynamics. Our contemporary neuroscience, the only thing I want to say about it before we practice is that it backs us up really well. We really know that shame actually isn't coming anywhere from the frontal neocortex at all. It is not clear thinking. It really is amygdala fired and then contracted around and solidified around and feared around so that it becomes frozen and solid. And then we can no longer see the truth of all that we are. And it gets to include this moment of unskillfulness or this moment of more likely my own distress left unrecognized that then turned into a harshness, a condemnation, a judgment of another. Does that make sense to everyone? If we could acknowledge that, how would you then respond? You'd say, A, I recognize the suffering, and then B, let's not get stuck here. We can easily acknowledge this and then try again or move forward or be compassionate for ourselves and others. Shame says I am bad. It attacks the identity. It does major damage, by the way, says the science, to the nervous system. It would be like, as Pema says, swallowing a poison pill and wishing it killed the other. That's the nature of shame. It's only going to do damage. Guilt, we made the distinction there. It acknowledges a wrong or unskillful action, and I love that. We're going to focus with regret in our work, our practice. I don't think I'm going to go over, well, let me do it for a minute. So we're going to review these 4 steps and then practice them together. The first is recognition, always. And from recognition, we allow the first power to arise. And the first power from recognition, once again, a little more space, a little more room. I haven't defined my whole self around this thought, speech, or action, is regret. Ooh, it didn't go the way I wanted. I didn't act in a way that I was probably capable of. It means likely that the brainstem of threat was in some way firing without understanding. But regret is the first power to say, it's not the way I wanted this to go, and I want it to go better. And that we recognize that this healthy or wholesome regret is something that might look like guilt, but does not get solidified. That's the key. It also acknowledges that behavior has consequences. We know from this action, other actions will arise, and we're probably not looking for those. Someone else's distress, someone else's anger, someone else's judgment, someone else's competition for being right now is here, and we are contributors to that. Even when sometimes we say it well, I'm very good at being able to say all the right words in all the right order. Doesn't mean that the whole heart is engaged in it. And I have to be very careful about that I say exactly what's true, that I don't just hedge and become eloquent in the presentation, because look at the suffering that can be the result of that, right? And my acknowledgement of that is skillful. I've got to really look and think and wait a minute, what do I really mean? What do I really know? What's really true for me here is so useful. Then it's called reliance or refuge is the second power, and that means remembering the good. I'm going to make this simple. Remembering the good. Not just the good in you, but the good in the world. Not just the good in the world, but the good that's everywhere all the time and right here, right now, even with the truth of this in hand. It says you can rely on the 3 refuge, the triple gems, the reality that we have awakened mind available right here, right now. There's no other moment in which to awaken than this one. That we remember that there's a Sangha that's going to hold us, and also acknowledge, I know this too, because we all do. There's not one of us who's done anything that someone else doesn't know something about, both in terms of its goodness and in terms of its consequence. And the Dharma, the truth of the Dharma, holding on to this is going to cause harm. Acknowledging, recognizing, liberating, and then saying, what can I do now to be skillful? Which you cannot do in shame. Shame collapses us. Wholesome remorse looks for correction, solution, and remedy. And so that reliance, seeking the good, remembering the good, both in oneself and in others. The third is then considering from a very engaged and embodied way a right action. Remember, sometimes internal. There's not always the possibility for then go fix. And it isn't understood to be a fix. Anyway, it's simply understood to be right action in the face of error. What could that be? And how might we do that? So remedy, sometimes called repair, um, a little bit in our Western psychology, we use words like reconciliation, but that's usually a bigger process. It's not just the remedy. And then the fourth is resolve, that we commit ourselves wholeheartedly. I think we fail here often. I see the problem. I recognize that I did it. I didn't look closely enough at what was activated in me that even allowed that to occur. And so the problem, I'm just into fix mode. I think we're very good at fixing. And then it's likely to occur again. And then again, and again, and again. And remember, with every repetition, it is solidifying a neurocircuit at least, isn't it? In a way that we then go, I'm out of control with this thing. I can't even stop it now, like Angulimala. I can't stop it. It's like got a hold of me. And then we begin again, it says. And Pema says, we're going to fall. We're going to fail. Fail again, fail better. And then continue to see clearly the path. But this, I think, is where a lot of our work is. If we did not look sufficiently and also acknowledge what was the pain, what was the fear, what was the, to me, the probability that we fixed it out there is not likely to be sufficient, is it? It's going to occur again. And then we, scream at the cat that peed on our luggage one more time. Without understanding it was really not about the cat, and we couldn't correct it until we saw clearly our overwhelm, our own pain, our own, I feel like I've got to always do this by myself, whatever else is happening there. So those are the four powers. There's something called four right efforts. I'm not going to go over that today. I think really where we should go now is really into the practice, because I think if we don't get how freeing it is, rather than how condemning we have typically used it, we won't stay close to it, and we won't use it. So let's get ready to do that. Oh, I like this. I'll read this. One who once was heedless, but later becomes mindful, illuminates the world like the moon freed from clouds. Isn't that lovely? Was once heedless, just that moment, but later becomes mindful. The very next moment, what an opportunity. Okay, we'll close that down for now. Anything else before we sit? I don't see much in chat, so I think we're probably ready. I think we get this. We certainly know it's suffering, don't we? We know the suffering of it. We know the collapse into it. We know this feeling of holding. One of the metaphors is like holding a piece of hot coal and letting it burn through the hand over and over and over when it wasn't even a real thing. We made it hot by our own condemnation, rejection, refusal to look and to honor the truth of our own humanness and vulnerability, which is, of course, on the path to true compassion. We can use everything. The second metaphor I love, which is of a silver or goldsmith, that says the gold is really embedded in impurities, and that it is the truth of gold. It's in some way, interestingly, protected and allowed to occur in some way, right from that soil, the dirt, the compost, the things that even the mistakes really can be food for goodness in their understanding and their recognition. And so we're all alchemists, for those of us who know that book. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful one. So let's prepare to sit. And the aspiration today, may this practice free us from the heaviness, the weightedness, and the delusion of shame. Right? May we be set free from that old habit so that we can see clearly the path to awakening and to compassion for ourselves as we acknowledge our own humanness, our own mistake, and then for all those others in their moments of humanness also. May we offer this practice then to all beings everywhere without exception. May we all be free of the weight and the blindness and the delusion of shame, turning it like a goldsmith, like an alchemist, into the beautiful open heart, open sky of compassion. Just taking a moment to settle, breathing naturally, letting the breath move throughout the whole of the body. We don't collapse around the breath. We actually invite the breath to fill the whole body being. With each in-breath, we inspire the aspirations that we have set for this practice. And with the out-breath, we invite ourselves just a little bit closer, a little bit more into the body into the earth, recognizing the oneness. We let the body soften. And we rest then in the rhythm and the wave of the breath. Now the instruction says, and I've recently come to appreciate this, moving in and out of the body. So we don't lock up around the body. I think this is a key instruction. We know the spaciousness around us in the out-breath. We draw from that spaciousness in the out-breath, in the in-breath. It is not locked up, limited, or contracted in any way. See if we can find the breath like this. And if we can stay engaged with the breath for several breaths, what we begin to notice is that we are beginning to purify the mind. That we are not lost in old habituated thoughts of self or other. That we are simply arriving here, home, easeful. With nothing to think. And even before we begin the four opposing powers, sometimes called the four purifications, I like to begin with remembering the goodness. And that is the goodness all around and within that has invited us here today. The Buddha said, begin with your mother and father, whatever else is true in their unskillfulness. They have invited you to this life, to this possibility of being awakened. Can include the elements, others who have contributed to your being here. Of course, there are infinite others. Breathing that in, the goodness within and all around, just this present moment. We also recognize in this the truth of our human vulnerability, that we also come predisposed, don't we, not only to that goodness, but to fear. And this is not something around which to generate shame. In fact, it's better if we can simply acknowledge this too is a part of this being human. And the reality of making mistakes. And rather than respond with that hardened, condemning, all encompassing shame, I am bad, I'm broken, there's something inherently wrong with me, tends to be the voice of shame. And then it collapses, of course, the heart mind. We're going to see if we can't begin to turn with a little more friendliness, a little more openness towards a moment of difficulty. So I'd like you to just take a moment to recollect a regret, wholesome regret, not seeing it as something that has diminished you. It was an error, likely. It was caused by that fear, that vulnerability, that pain. This is the beginning of something the Buddha called ethical ecology, ethical clarity. Seeing it as it is. It also invites a compassionate responsibility. I'm going to take ownership of this, but not as the whole of me. I'm going to invite compassion in with it so that I can repair what can be repaired and begin again. And this moment frequently is one for me where my actions did not quite align. And it's aligned in a couple areas for me. One is my capacity for the skill. And I'm like, oops, no, I have it to do, which means I've really collapsed back into a fear state, a state of pain or vulnerability, because I can see, oh, I've done this before. I know its goodness. And so I have to recognize that I'm particularly vulnerable here because something has collapsed in me. The skill is not available. And the second is it's not in alignment with who I am and who I want to be. And so sometimes for me, it's not because there's been this big, evident wrong action that has occurred, but I can feel the dissonance of, wait a minute, I am capable of more. I have this understanding. I'm recognizing this unskillfulness, even if it was not something that resulted in a big uh, um, interaction or. And I think these are infinitely valuable because I think we can work on them so that the seeds do not become the weeds, but rather bloom goodness. So see if you can locate just one moment like that. Just set it with a little snark. There was a little face. There was a little, you're being an idiot, silently, often. That does get communicated, as we know. And allow that memory. This is skillful action arising right here. Rather than push it away, make it something inherently about you, our very turning towards it is beautifully regarding your highest values. We don't want to exaggerate this event. We don't want to narrate it. We have to be careful also not to minimize it because we know one action taken leads to the next. But we are going to allow the simply seeing it. The Buddha, in a conversation to his 7-year-old son, Rahula said, "It is wise to look at the action before you do it. It is wise to look at the action as you are doing it. And it is wise to look at the action after and see its consequence." We're going to begin here by just looking at the action. And what were the thoughts? Allow yourself to feel the feelings that were there as best you can prior to the action. What was there? See if you can acknowledge it, open to learning from it. It's likely something that occurs in you.
Good morning. I'm so happy.
Be watchful for that feeling of regret, but we don't want to collapse that. We want to use that as skillful means. I am capable of more. There's an inner dignity attached. I am capable of more here. And we're going to invite it lovingly. We acknowledge that this action or this thought caused suffering. That the feeling of regret that I want you to get familiar with is skillful. There's a little pit in my stomach. It's a little metally. Feels a little hot and charged. I want to let it be as it is, but not make it more. This is the voice of the conscience embodied. I want you to understand it that way. It's saying stop, just like the Buddha said to Angulimala. Let's stop. Reflect here. We can breathe then right into the heart, letting the heart open to this beautiful ethical dignity of ours that wants to do well, not only for ourselves, but for others. And then we remember as we enter into the heart, don't we, the good that is there. This very willingness to examine, to inquire, to reflect, to contemplate our thoughts, words, and deeds already has lit up this entire Christmas tree of this whole heart, awakened heart mind. It has ignited bodhicitta, is the way the Buddha said it. And we let that be and we breathe that in. My very willingness to contemplate, to inquire, has already changed everything in the mind and in the heart. And we keep creating space and room in that heart, don't we? It is human to err. And it is beyond one's humanness to investigate it. That's something else. That's inviting the highest realm and capacities of the awakened heart mind. We've already changed everything. Remembering that heart and its goodness, its willingness to be honest, to be reflective, to take responsibility compassionately, and that we have this opportunity this very moment by those infinite sources to now be wholesome, be skillful, be wise, be loving, and compassionate. What an opportunity. And just breathe it in. That goodness, present right here in your own heart mind. As we are creating that space and room in the heart mind, see if you don't notice that there's an energy that begins to arise. It may take several moments, but there is ultimately what we call volition as a result of skillfulness, an action that is invited, whether that's continued inquiry, investigation, wanting to offer the repair, the remedy, or the correction. It will begin to arise, and we get to stay with ourselves in that process until we can feel that energy occurring. If you do not, often there is a hidden condemnation, a hidden habit for shame or criticism here. It may require digging into that a bit to see that you have solidified around this action. See if we can't create a little more space. Not me, not mine. A part of this being human. Can you feel those qualities within you, this desire to care and correct for you and others? The wish to live with honesty, integrity, to be consistent in actions consistent with our values. And there is an inner dignity that is the result. This is like an inner compass, returning to our true self, not the old broken narrative, mostly who we fear we are. And then what happens a little bit for me, so I'll just speak from it, is as I am resting in that essential goodness, recognizing this taint, sometimes called a taint, it's just a dot in the whole quality of our being. I start to think about what might I have been able to do? What am I capable of? What do I aspire to? And then I just let the door be wide open and see if you don't notice a certain vision, a possibility, some potential for a way of being. This can be the beginning of the lead towards a remedy, a repair, or a skillful action. We don't run to them though. We rest in that essential goodness, remembering our genuine desire to live consistent with our highest values. We can be acknowledging of our vulnerabilities here. I was a little too tired, a little too lonely, a little too charged up, a little too scared. But we keep coming back to our greatest capacities for now. What might be that potential? Often it's something somewhat simple. I could have asked a question for clarification. I could have softened my voice tone. I could have said that I was feeling anxious or worried or scared by the interaction or what might be its result. I could hold myself first and then maybe the other in kindness or compassion, understanding this simply as a moment of escalation or difficulty, and not had to do anything yet. Just the recognition itself, skillful. And then we begin moving from those thoughts into an actual uh, commitment or repair. Like next time I'm that hungry, I'm going to make sure that I eat something before speaking. Next time I'm with that person where I can feel threatened or charged, I'm going to take good care of myself, make sure that my resources are full. I'm going to acknowledge if I get escalated and simply tap out or tap in, which would be more skillful. And we want to picture the possibilities, is what I would say here. I don't know if we have to pick one maybe just yet, but you want to see the possibility of aligning yourself with the good. What could I do that would be wise, skillful, caring, compassionate? And I want you to picture that. If you can imagine it, you are capable of it. Next time, may I act with greater care, with greater integrity, with greater wisdom. We invite that wish for ourselves. And picturing it. This has now become a moment of awakening, a moment of transformation, a moment of learning, a moment of cultivating wisdom and compassion. There is no harshness, no judgment. We are actually transforming through kindness, compassion, care. Feel your own ease. The pit in my belly is gone. I have transformed the regret now into the beginning of a commitment. It feels good. Be watchful for those arising shoulds. That should is shame. The truth is, we did not quite have all that we needed, and now we do. And so we commit ourselves now wholeheartedly. I will pay better attention to me and my signals that I'm under-resourced, which is a beautiful act of self-compassion. I'll recognize the beginning of the escalation and take a breath, a break, honoring myself and the other. If there is a wholesome regret in an action, I can choose to apologize, to make a general public statement of correction or of honesty. I can set new aspiration and communicate about it. I want to be better in this, and I'd like your help. Look at all the infinite possibilities now. Continuing to allow the heart to soften. May I learn from my mistakes, not seeing them as all of who I am. May compassion flourish where once shame held the heart. May I continue to cultivate wisdom both for myself and for all beings. Feeling that sense of propagating the good, not only inner but outer. Feel the warmth, the open space, the possibilities here. Each moment of kindness strengthens our capacity for compassion. Each act of recognition strengthens our wisdom. And in this genuine care for oneself and another, we strengthen love. No punishment, just awakening. All mistakes become our greatest teachers. We let that regret become wisdom, and we grow in compassion. Rest in that. And may all beings benefit from this very practice. It is certain. So be it. Check our time. We're doing great. Take your time. Renee has here, this is huge practice. It is a habit of my mind to immediately jump to I'm bad. I've been doing this for a lot of years. It says 60 plus. Will be a big practice for me, but I feel heartened that I'm at least beginning to recognize when I habitually jump to shame. instead of regret. Isn't it true? If we could just let that be what it is, says the Buddha. It is not just a change of perception. It isn't positive psychology. It's not taking a bad thing and trying to turn. It's to say the recognition of it, as fast as we might be able to move towards that, is already an opening and already something that we can feel good about. Even when we don't yet have the four processes, they take time. Look at all the time we just took for this. But the very willingness to say, I recognize that turning this into me is not going to serve the end of suffering, is not going to benefit me or another, and in fact is going to propagate the continued harm. This usually stops me in my tracks, is going to propagate with shame, continued harm to myself, to others, and then ultimately to the world. No benefits, right? And now frozen in contractedness. That, by the way, we can all feel, can't you? You can feel that in the belly there. So it is one I want us to get very comfortable doing on the spot, because the lengthy formal practice is something we'll just do in community, and then when you can find your way, you'll have this recording today. But I really want us to talk for a moment about how we stop this before it gets solidified. And that is what? In the recognition of every contraction of mind or body. That would be the beginning. And understanding that shame is often present here. It isn't just in the doing, it is in the identification with it. That happens, that we shut it down all the more. We bury it. What do? We cut it off. We paste something on top of it. I was talking with somebody about this the other day, with this persona of goodness, but really coming from this kind of shame underneath that I'm so horrible that the best I'm going to do is look okay, not be okay. Because with shame, there is no possibility to be okay. We really do have to eradicate it, says the Buddha, at its root, beginning with regret. Okay, I can regret all those even other moments of shame and then begin with this one that just says, oh, I don't know. Does anybody really get out from under all this confusion or mistake? Or yes, one breath, one moment, one thought at a time. And then we all go, well, that's going to take forever. No, not actually. It takes now. The commitment is now. It is not forever. We begin now. We stay with it now. We do the four purifications now. Even in our little short form. Can I recognize? Yes. Can I refuge? Remember, hold me tight to the goodness, because I don't want to get flopped over into this is all I am. It's never true. It means tie yourself to the mast of goodness. What is that? Just recollection. I've also done good things. I've also been kind. Others have been kind to me. We're in a generally peaceable world, even in the midst of war. We must remember this. Otherwise, it becomes hopeless, and you can feel the drain. Can't you? Like, what's the point then of all of this? There is a point. So then we seek the refuge. We find the remedy or the repair. What can I do? What would be skillful? What would be with regard to me and then the other? Remember, it may not be an action yet. It may just be an act of wholesome regret with integrity. I'm going to take compassionate responsibility is the word I want to stay with. Compassionate responsibility. Otherwise, it's broken. All that beating oneself about the chest. I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and now, right? And there are several traditions that unfortunately feed shame rather than the transformation into, and I can act skillfully, kindly, compassionately, lovingly, wisely, right now, which means I can't hold on to that old idea. Dennis says, to remind myself of my loving heart. That's the refuge, Dennis. That's beautiful. Each breath is a reminder to my heart. Breathing into the heart is the best reminder to the heart, honestly. Just not the lungs. We have a little tendency to be lung breathers. I think we have to expand that into being heart breathers, creating space and room and holding and warmth and remembering the goodness of this human heart as well is the refuge, itself. And if we're only in the belly, we stay a little more in touch with the polyvagal system and often in the contraction. We have to really get back up into the heart space, into the heart breath, and into that remembering if we're going to transform it. Otherwise, really coming from just the brain stem and the polyvagal system, we are going to do more harm. When you know you're doing more harm, the good news is you can stop doing it. And maybe that means I have to put this practice away for a minute. I'm going to go look at the sky rather than just propagate shame, which I don't want to see anyone do. Jean, I think I see a raised hand here. I'm not sure, but I think that's what it's suggesting.
You do, you do.
Yes, hello.
Good morning. I just want to add when you're talking about refuge, I happened to be watching Rick Hansen talk about equanimity this morning,
Yes,
and he says very much the same. But when he talked about being mindful of what's going on, you get a little breathing room. And then he said, even if only 1% of you can take that refuge,
yes,
then you can work on and build more of the refuge. And I found that so helpful. I wanted to share it.
yes. Every seed, every
Yeah,
moment. Even it can be a feeling, not a thought. You can feel a little open space in the body. Rest there. You can have the thought, well, I'm not always this horrible. That may be what I can pull off today. Breathe that. I don't always do this. This isn't right. Any way we can find to create space and room in the body, in the mind, and in the open heart is all understood to be good news. And it's always a work in progress. We're always growing it from the very moment we uh, turn towards that possibility. By the way, I couldn't do it yet, but I also recognize that this isn't going to help me, is also seen as skillful and kind. I know this isn't going to help me, and I'm just watching me replay, repeat, because I've got a nice habit momentum here. But the very recognition, this isn't going to serve me or others. This will not be of benefit. And I can choose to place the mind on purpose now. Where? In that little toe that I did with one of my clients, when I said, is there anywhere in this whole of the body where you feel like there's not something bad? And she said, my little toe. And I said, let's breathe there.
that's her 1%.
That's right. Let's breathe that. Let's breathe there. Let's know that. And how does it feel? And then we described a lot of sensations. She's a little tingly and it's a little turned, meaning it was kind of for her pointing towards the sun, which was lovely. And then I said, is there anywhere else? Well, it feels like it could be starting to radiate up the side of my foot, right? Because making contact with goodness does what? Breeds goodness. Breeds goodness. Any contact with goodness breeds goodness. And we have to remember and practice it. Remember, that's this part that is choice making, intention setting, aspiration setting, and sees potential, even by the way, says the science, when it is not yet in evidence. I didn't do it yet, but I see potential. That means, from the Buddhist point of view, remember what he said, true nature, there's some part of us that never dies. It's never all gone. Even when we're in shame, the shame is a cover, remember, said the Buddha. It's the cloud over the moon's bright shine. It is not who we really are in anyway. It's not fixed or solid, even when it feels like it. Even when it feels like it. Equanimity is a much harder practice. By the way, it is the fourth of the Brahma Viharas. And ultimately, we have to practice these other three fairly continuously on the path to equanimity, which means in each moment, in this moment, I can then not topple. Even in recognition, I don't fall over. I go, well, there's shame appearing, but I don't go, my shame, me, the bad one. And that's practice. That's the cultivation of the equanimity. Even in shame, even in self-hatred, even in condemnation, I just recognize these as moments of arising. I don't get caught in them and decide that they're who I actually am. And that's what a relief. What a relief that is. Thank you so much for that, Jean. Jean, since you're here, can we get a little report on your shoulder and how you're doing?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well and I'm often tired. I'm not showing my face because I woke up when this started, which is 10 o'clock here, not 7.
Yeah. Well,
So
good for you.
I'm
Get
fine. I'm healing and it's
good.
taking a long time.
Yeah. Well, that long time is the definition of I wish it were faster.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm practicing. I'm
I
practicing.
know. I do. I was walking without a walker today, and
Yay.
I took a, well, no, I, yeah, it's a nice idea. And I took a step a little too fast and a little too in the turn of the hip. And my hip is not really ready
Yes.
to take a step in the turn. I'm doing great straight.
Yeah.
I do really well backwards, by the way, also, but I can't take a step in the turn. And there I went, and I went, uh-oh,
Yeah.
uh-oh, this is not healed. And I don't know if it's true. Is it? I don't know if that's true. Is there such a thing? Aren't we always healing?
Mm.
Not the rotator, it's the hip. If it's not the hip, it's the heart. If it's not the heart, it's the shame. It's good.
And the habits are what we're healing, I think. I have the same thing with my shoulder. If I take my sling off and forget, I'll be reminded quickly when I reach up for a cup in the cabinet. Yikes.
Yes.
It's just habit. It's body habit. It's mental habit.
Yeah. And pain then becomes useful. Then we don't have
Okay.
condemning to go, there was the body saying not yet. It's a good communication. It's really designed for our support and health, by the way, not for our harm, to say we have to pay attention here. I could have gotten pretty sloppy had that had not done that. And ultimately, one of my surgeon's concerns, for example, is that I redevelop scar tissue because I do too much too quickly. I am committed not to doing it. And that little moment, what an opportunity to go slow it down, back and forth, just here now. And that's, I know, certainly the way I'm going to get to health and well being,
And
right?
lots of
Give it a
gratitude.
yeah.
Lots of gratitude for the because
Yeah.
I'm oh yeah, thank you, body. You're going through a
Get
lot.
it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
Could we then bring that same appreciation, gratitude, and joy to our regret? And the answer is yes, because it's exactly the same. It's just the pain of the mind. It is exactly that that goes, whoops, wait a minute, take a look, drop in here, make sure we're not causing more suffering. And we can appreciate regret as a skillful action, not the same with shame. We want to be careful. We want to really transform that shame into wholesome, healthy regret. You are already different. is the truth. The minute you look at something and go, oops, I'm not sure, there's a transformation that has already occurred. You didn't do the 4 steps yet. You just in recognition. By the way, in the Buddha's language, he did not use recognition as one of the 4 purifications. Can anybody guess why? He did not use recognition as one of the 4 purifications. There's a really right reason. Why?
Because it needs to be the first thing you do.
It's the first thing you do. Well, you have to.
Right.
But why is it not identified as a purification? Recognition.
Is it because it's not an action?
It is only noticing. It is not yet, that's right, Jean, actionable. We could recognize and continue. I didn't like you. I still think you're a bitch. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think you're a bigger bitch than I thought just a minute before. So recognition itself, though it is the beginning of liberation, is not sufficient. We ultimately, with recognition and awareness, choose, right, lighting up the whole tree, instead of just going, yeah.
But then is that considered recognition? I mean,
Yes.
because then you're not actually recognizing you did harm, because then who would go, I'm going to do more harm?
That's right. Recognition is not necessarily yet the acknowledgement of harm. That's
Okay.
regret.
Okay.
It's just noticing what's happening. I'm fired up. I'm noticing the contraction. And in fact, what I can do, unfortunately, with that is justify, rationalize, and not only that, propagate. So not seen as sufficient, and so not identified as a purification. Now, in the Dzogchen tradition, just so you know, they say, from recognition, all good things can come. Right? Liberation can occur right from here, but you have to be really fully present. And yes, too often, and I've done it, with recognition, going, yeah, so that's the consequence.
That's right, I'm pissed.
That's right. You deserve this. You did it wrong, and I recognize that you did it, and I'm not really in full recognition of, right. By the way, recognition in any form is still seen as valuable. It's not always sufficient, especially if we're pointing recognition out the door towards what everybody else did. This is our habit in politics, folks. Is it not? To go, look at what they're not doing. Look at what he's doing. Look at what's going on over there. Now, again, recognition, it doesn't mean it's not accurate, and it is not sufficient. It's still not sufficient until we go, how am I propagating separation, harm, division, and suffering? And that level of recognition, we trust completely. And that's why we always try to begin at home. What am I doing here? All right, I want to make sure we're not running out of time. We've got 5 minutes. I want to just drop in on reminders for us. We have, in fact, if there's anybody here who's going to be going to our Thursday North County Warehouse event, if you would let me know, because we're going to arrange a car share from La Costa Park and Ride for those who have signed up. So if you've signed up, if you would let me know, I would appreciate that. I cannot get into the site. They've closed it, so I can't see who has signed up. We will probably meet about 5:30 this Thursday. You have to wear hard-toed shoes. I would certainly bring a water canister along with you, and I try to leave phones and things as best you can at home so we don't lose them. I have dropped mine there on the cement floor and cracked my screen because bending and doing all of that. So let me know.
Is it too late to join?
I'm sorry, Dennis.
Is it too late to join in this? Be a part of it?
It's too late. It's full. It has filled. The word we got is that it is full, which means there's between 25 and 30 people already in attendance. You could take the risk, I suppose, if you wanted to just come along and see if you could get signed up. There are usually a few people who don't show for any particular number of reasons, but we couldn't guarantee. that would work for you. So we're going to be leaving at 5:30 from La Costa Park and Ride. Be there, be square, and I'm very excited about it. Being able to get back into offering in that way. Anything else, Lynn? We've got Philabelli next Thursday, not this Thursday,
It's April 9th. And we
April
still have
9th.
lots of space for people to offer food or just themselves.
Yeah, we're trying
What does she
to.
need most?
Do you have a need, particularly greatest need right now, Lynn?
Right now, we actually need items in every category, but I always like to fill the main entrees first.
Yeah,
So protein-rich main entrees would be uh, our first choice.
maybe we could make chili or something.
Yeah, I could do chili.
Yeah, so we're gonna do chili. I already
Okay.
said we'd commit to an entree.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna do chili, and Al was in the mood for bratwurst and Italian sausage, so we'll bring some of that along. I think mostly he wanted to eat it while he was, but
Okay, that's great.
uh, yeah,
Hey, so that encourage him to sit down with our guest and eat it.
yes, there is a lesser chance than a greater
Yeah,
for that, but he will definitely help people get their plates to the
that
table.
that's always helpful too.
Yeah, he feels good about that and is something he's comfortable doing. So we need your help. There will be a newsletter coming out as a reminder to get to Lynn. Lynn, if you could put your phone number again, if you
Sure.
haven't already,
I will add it to the chat right now.
put that in our chat. I think otherwise we're pretty good. I'm not seeing anything else here.
Lynn, do you have me for the side dish
Yes, I do, Renee. Thank
and the
you.
waters from last time?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Lynn, I'll call you. It's Robin.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I'll do something.
I think
Okay. Thank you.
Cradle.
Yeah, I'll try to come up with something
Hey,
as
buddy.
well.
Yeah. Oh, what? Did that scare you? Something scaring him. I'm so funny. How are you?
Rob, we have one case of Gatorade also, Lynn.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I think we're good on water now
Okay.
and Gatorade.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Do you know where Lynn is? Our new website is up, encinitasmindfulness.com. Please go there, check it out. It's live. We're just populating it. But I think most of the important things that you might need to know about are there, including volunteering opportunities with a form that works. It's truly amazing. The whole thing works. Uh, we're going to do a little in-service on that soon, just to make sure everybody knows how to walk through it and work it. And our 100 Days of Gratitude Challenge will begin this Saturday. Yes, you can sign up all the way to the last minute. I've had a few people looking for the links to that, but please sign up because we're going to be focusing on that as a community as well. Gratitude in the research is known to increase our happiness quotient by at least 10%, if not more. I can't think of a better thing to do in this beautiful spring than that. So let's get ready and do our prayer. Making contact with that good heart once again, feeling into that. Where is it available in this body right now? And I just notice a kind of softening of my shoulders around this ignited heart. Felt sense of warmth, of spaciousness, of radiance might be a thing you might actually have a sense of, some vibration of goodness, sense of connectedness, of belonging, of care. And then we gather that in our palms near our heart in whatever way feels right for you. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. May we all be happy, truly happy. May we all be free from pain and suffering. May we rejoice, be glad, and take delight in our good fortune and offer the wishes and the blessings of that good fortune to others. May we rest and dwell in those vast, open heart, mind, and arms, embracing all beings, wishing for their happiness, their awakening, their peace, and their freedom. May we part the clouds of shame so that our most radiant good hearts shine through. So be it. So good to see you all. Thank you all so much. Blessings to you all today. Have a really wonderful day. Make it a good one. Thank you so much. Thank you for putting your phone number up there. Thank you all. Take good care, everyone.